Welcome to the Connected Spirit Podcast, a space where the mystical and the human experience merge, where we explore what it really means to walk a spirit-led path. I'm Courtney Dawson, an ethical medium and mentor, and for as long as I can remember, I have felt the presence of the spirit world. But my journey hasn't been simple. It's been one of self-discovery, healing from religious and emotional trauma, navigating fear, judgment, and the loneliness that comes with embracing something the world doesn't always understand. This podcast is here to take what was once considered woo and bring it into the real lived experience of being human. Because mediumship isn't just something we do, it's who we are. Here we dive into the conversations no one else is having, breaking down misconceptions, exploring the unseen, and normalizing the journey of deep connection. We'll talk about the beauty and the struggle of being a medium. We'll laugh, we'll reflect, we'll go deep. And most importantly, we'll remember who we are, why we're here, and how spirit moves through us all. So if you've ever felt something more, if you've ever questioned the unseen, or if you're simply ready to embrace the fullness of your spiritual path, you're in the right place.
The reason your mediumship feels inconsistent actually has nothing to do with your mediumistic abilities. And it has everything to do with the way that you were taught, and also everything to do with what you were never taught. Let's fix that today. Here's what I hear constantly from mediums. They're either developing or they are working professionally as psychic mediums. I had an incredible reading last week. I brought through awesome evidence. And then the next reading I give is vague, and my recipient has no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know what's different. And I want you to know that's not a you problem. That is actually a training problem. Let's look into that. It's because you were never actually taught the technical foundation that allows you to connect to the spirit world easily, consistently, and bring through verifiable evidence every single time when you start channeling the world as spirit. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Most mediumship trainings, what they do is they start piecing little bits of education together, right? And then when people are wanting to develop spirit communication abilities, so whether that's to connect to their own loved ones or to be able to read for family, friends, maybe start reading for the public, what they'll do is they'll head up YouTube, start watching all of the videos of how to connect to spirit in 3 easy steps, right? And then maybe they take a short online course. And it's not their fault. That's what's available to you when you're wanting to develop your mediumship. The good news is that the mechanics are learnable, and every single person has the ability to develop mediumship, hands down. And you do not have to keep hoping that your mediumship abilities are going to work. You'll be able to move from a place of hoping to knowing. The second thing I want to talk about is when you start losing the connection with your spirit communicator halfway through your reading and you can't get it back, what happens is that you don't actually have a repeatable process where you're able to reestablish that link with your spirit communicator. You can move back into the power, reconnect with your spirit communicator, and carry on with the reading without having to panic. I've been doing this work professionally for almost 11 years. I've trained at the Arthur Findlay College twice. I've sat in a mediumship development circle for over 7 years, and I've taught a lot. And there's one thing that I absolutely know for sure is that mediums who feel inconsistent in their ability to connect to the spirit world and to bring through evidence, not vague, one size fits all, your grandmother has gray curly hair and she loves to bake. I'm talking about names and dates and connections and how that recipient is able to identify that spirit communicator. Okay. What happens is that when we don't have any technical steps, we're not able to move back into that connection with the spirit world. And those technical steps really are your repeatable framework, and they don't have to be complicated. They really shouldn't be. And they don't have to have a list of like 20 steps of got to follow 1 through 20. What thing that I know for sure is that the mediums that do have inconsistency in their mediumship or readings, pardon me, they don't lack ability. It always is going to come down to the training. Always. Think of training as like your roadmap, right? It's like you want to go on a road trip, but if you don't have a map, you don't have your GPS programmed, you're going to get lost. You might get stuck on a dead end road, right? And this is why the connected spirit method is so effective in being that roadmap for mediums like you. Whether you're curious, whether you're doing this professionally, whatever level you're at. I've actually tested and tried this out for my own mediumship abilities, and it allowed me to go from like okay mediumship to accurate and consistent every single time, and to have me booked out 3, 4, 6 months in advance. Now, when I was developing my mediumship, I had no idea that some of the things that I was doing that I was actually taught was wrong. I had no idea. I'd have these moments where I was connecting to spirit. Everything was so crystal clear. I was seeing them clairvoyantly. I was hearing clairaudiently. Information was coming in that was accurate. And then the next time I'd go to connect to spirit and do a reading, it felt like there was nothing there. I was literally grasping for straws. And let me know in the comments if you're a developing medium or working professionally, and if you've experienced this, because I know absolutely that I'm not the only one here. This is common. And what would happen is when I was in those readings, I'd start to spiral and I'd start panicking, thinking, oh my God, my abilities are gone. Spirit, why didn't you show up? And actually, what the problem is, was that I was never actually taught how to connect to the spirit world in a way that genuinely built that connection, but also helped me maintain it. So, a lot of you have been asking me for a very long time, like almost a year, for a live training, something that was immersive, something where we actually work through this stuff together. And moving beyond just bringing through names and dates, which I'm an evidence girl. I love it. But there's different aspects that we can work on in our mediumship. And a lot of mediumship training doesn't look at that. They might cover just the clairs, how to connect with a guide, how to make a link. But there's actually so much beauty in how you can work with the spirit world. And that can be through working with different divination tools. It could be through like automatic writing, pendulums, candle gazing, moving into the altered states, channeling. There's all of these awesome ways that we can work with the spirit world, and not everybody gets the opportunity to develop that. So today, my friends, I am letting you know that I am opening up Summer with Spirit for the second year in a row. We actually sold out last year, but this year, this is going to be different. This is absolutely a live, structured program where I've kept it to only 40 spots again. That's it. That is intentional. I could do more, but I want you to actually have the space to be able to grow in a place that isn't a crowd, where you're not lost among all of these people, and where I actually get to watch you work, tune in, see where you're at, and help provide you personalized guidance. Personalized mentorship from somebody who not only knows how to teach, but actually works as a medium is key for your success. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if somebody is not actively working with their mediumship, they're not keeping up with all of the different facets of how spirit communication works. And most importantly, having a mentor that can actually tune into you. This is why my students have accelerated growth in their progress with me. So with this, you are going to have 12 weeks of live training, 2 hours a week. There are going to be meditations. There's going to be live spirit-led teachings and activations. We're going to be covering a variety of topics. We're going to be looking at the psychism, so your psychic abilities, working mediumistically in all different types of state, divination, channeling. I'm working on something here, and this is still to be determined, looking at how we can start perhaps even looking at a little bit forensic. It's going to be amazing. Again, capped at 40. If you want more details, over to my website and join the course.
The Connected Spirit isn't just a podcast, it's a remembering of who we are, a remembering of our connection to spirit, and a remembering that we are never walking this path alone. Mediumship isn't just about speaking with spirits. It's about deepening the connection to our own spirit, to one another, and to the energy that moves through everything. So as you leave this space, ask yourself, what part of this conversation stirred something within you? What connection is spirit inviting you to strengthen? If this episode spoke to you, please share it, leave a review, and connect with me on Instagram at Medium Courtney Dawson, or visit my website at mediumcourtneydawson.com. Your presence in this community matters, because connection isn't just about what we seek, it's what we are. Until next time, trust your spirit, trust the unseen world, and trust that you are always, always connected.